music.
Dream, defer. You are now tuned in. Breathe. Trust your process. Dream, defer. You are now tuned in. Breathe. Trust your process. Dream, defer.
Yo, what's up? And I'm live. It is Monday night. Normally I would do this on a Tuesday night, but some said go ahead and drop tonight. So right now I am live also on Instagram Live. And this is my first real Instagram Live. So hello to everybody that's there. I just dropped the website for you so you can tune in. Hopefully that will stay. We'll put everything there, all the little weights. Yo, got more people. Appreciate you. So I had a couple of questions today, but I want to say, he says, pin it. How do I pin it? It's a good question. All this technology, yo. This is episode 33. Not Happy New Year. Y'all are making me blush out there looking at me. This is weird. So usually it's just me looking at me. But yeah, so episode 33. Yes, I remember you, Sean. What's up? Sure, you're taller than me now. Sorry, guys. It's still live. So it's episode 33. I think I've said that about 3 times. So, and this is New Year, same me. And I thought of that while I was cooking earlier. And just like, yo, I need to go ahead and record while I have time. Might have something to do tomorrow. But the thought was to do that. I don't know how I can pin something. That seems like... No, that's not that either. Somebody said pin it. Okay, no, I don't remember. Ooh, good. So we got some hot topic questions already ready. And that's what I'm going to be answering. So some people have gone on to my Instagram, my personal Instagram, which is Dutchi Danny at DUTCHIDANI. And if you go to my story right now, even if you're following, you can go to the story and you can go ahead and answer the question there. And I'm just asking for any questions so that you want me to talk about. That's about it. Just been doing the usual, started another job. It's okay. I'm gonna stick with it. And it's about sacrifice. Also, you can drop your comments below here in the comments. I'll take that too. That's just comments or questions. So I'm turning 30. And the show started, if you don't know, if this is your first time tuning in, the show started because I made a list of 28 lessons that I'd learned so far in my 28 years of life. So you can see how far this kind of goes back. And I just did it, and then I did nothing else. And then the next thing I did was I got an idea to make a blog from one of my professors, about those things. And I never did the blog. And then people kept saying, I guess, oh, she talks so much. Oh, my goodness. She must like the sound of her own voice, which I don't. But I think people were just like, yo, you should do a podcast. And I was like, for real? I was like, I don't even know what that is. Hadn't listened to one. But I decided to go forth with it and use those same lessons to basically create the episode. So for the beginning of the year, I wanted to just kind of reach out to the audience and tap the pulse of some of my friends. And I don't want to say fans because I don't think that's what it is. But taking some questions and just see what did people want to talk about. What were people interested in my, opinions on. So we're going to do that. We're just going to go ahead and get right to it. But Happy New Year. Hope you've been having a great year so far. It just started and my birthday is this weekend. And if you want to know what the Cash App is, it's just $, and then Dutchi Danny. All right. But anyhow, that's a shameless plug mostly. Let's go ahead and see what we got in the questions. All right. So one question from Shay Christie, is how do I balance my career come up without offending people? And I guess I could have maybe kept this anonymous. But yeah, I guess that's the whole point. I think the first word in that question is balance. How do you balance your career, like as you're progressing without offending people? And I feel like people do it all the time, but I think this question is rooted in a lot of people don't care about offending others. They're just on there, they're doing their thing, and so offending other people is the last thing that they're caring about. And they feel as if we're like, well, I have a right to this and I have a right to that, and they take it in that direction. So you kind of risk, I'd say you risk losing friends, losing your relationships. I think you keep it real, and I think you have to just separate your professional and your personal life. I think the next thing is you have to establish proper boundaries, right? And that's some of that division there. But you also establish boundaries for yourself, probably for your loved ones, the regular people around you. And then you're establishing it for your clientele. So people can have a respect for your craft and for the things that you do and work towards. So for instance, it's maybe having this consistent routine, having certain policies that you live by, like making standard operating procedures. Something I've been working on it lately at work, but basically figuring out, okay, who am I? What's my vision? What's the mission here? What's the purpose? What do we do? Next, coming down, like say, like, okay, these are departments, and looking at the flow. And then you might be looking at like, okay, what hours are we actually operating and working, and stick to that. I had a professor who told me her husband, he works comics, but he'd get up every day at the same time. And so he'd work on something regardless. And I think I noticed that even with a lot of producers lately, they make sure every day they're working on something, producing something. So you have that work balance as far as the production wise, but you go ahead and make what you need to make. Certain hours, of operation may include, so that your work hours as whatever you do, whatever type of creative or creator you are, you decide those hours. Those hours could be 2 a.m. Your business hours, though, may be at a whole nother time where it's 10 to 5 or 6 or 8 to 4, or maybe you just work half a day, 12 to 4, whatever you want it to be. And you stick to that, and you're also upfront in your communication. One thing I've run into lately as an artist is just people, I think, sometimes expecting you to do work without paying you, like it's something, yeah, you love what you do and all that, but people think it's okay to, just kind of to use your relationship or the dynamic to go ahead and avoid having to pay you for anything when they value your services, but they just don't value you enough to pay for it, right? And so I just kind of think of it like, if I really wanted some shoes, some Jordans or something when they come out, like there's only so much discount that the shoe store can give me, and in certain things they don't give me any type of discount. Even if I have one military discount, they don't give it all the time. And even sometimes as employees, like there's an employee discount, but you don't receive it all the time. So I think with your business, you have to establish that. Maybe you have a friends and family discount, but that's all you can do. And that's the best thing you can do for them. It's like, yo, look, for you, like I can do 5% or 10% off, or if you feel led, but you have to, I think, establish that relationship. And I think as you grow, you have to look to see who are the real people around you that want to see something like that happen, that want to see you do those things. I'm probably going to actually switch live over to the actual podcast page, so bear with me. Okay, maybe I won't do that just because, yeah. So I think that's the best way I could explain that. Keeping your balance between your career and being a kind person, but not being a pushover and not being a total bitch, about things. Another question I have from someone else Ryan wants to know, when does compromise go too far? All right, so when does compromise go too far? Well, I guess when it stops being what the actual agreement is, or when it's a constant compromising all the time. Like everything has to be compromised. And I think compromise is usually thought of as you give some and I give some, or you lose some and I lose some. And sometimes it may be one person's giving, one person's losing, and vice versa. But I think there also has to be a balance in the way that happens, that exchange, and who gives what to whom. You know what I mean? Like, so it can't be just on one person to do all the giving, or basically lose what they want or their opinions. So I think when you find yourself at an imbalance there, I think that's when compromise is no longer helpful. And you have to maybe step back and say, does this person really have my best interest at heart? Or am I being, selfish, at times? And that happens too. But I think the first step is just recognizing the issue and then, strategizing from there. I got something from Ashley. It says, do we need to have a whole phase, or is it just the over sexualized society we live in? That is a good question. I would love to say, I think for me the troublesome word there is need. Do you need to have a whole phase? I mean, like, we all know people that, met someone from high school, they were with them and they're with them until they die, right? But I think that society and media in particular, I love media, but I also know its powers and influence. I think that there is a lot less praise for people who take time to be with one person and really learn that person and give it their all. And I think we also tend to think we're missing out. We have so many options out there in the real world to explore so many things that we can't quite, we can't do that. We can't figure out what we need to be, paying attention to. So we're easily distracted. So it doesn't matter, I think, how much love or emphasis you put onto things or your life or in those relationships. I think it's easily just confusing. But there's this other side where it's like, life is so short. I want to explore things. And I think we also view relationships different. And I think we view certain things differently. And I say that to say that, we're more pro-feminism. We're more pro-woman. And I think it's definitely a question for a woman to ask generally. And there's some men, of course, out there that have not had whole phases. But society would lead us to believe that that's not the case. And it doesn't happen. Where it is the case, just like we'll believe that everyone drinks, everyone smokes, but that's not always the case. So it's like, what do you do? What do you do in that type of instance? And I want to say, what I'm saying, like, you have to, I guess, be honest with yourself about what do you need. And you can try and, see if it's something, I guess, if you're with someone that your partner is open to. I don't know if it has to be called a whole phase. Maybe it's an exploration phase. Maybe you're just trying to figure out, like, who you are and like what you like or don't like, or just like, is there something better? But I think a lot of times, just like for me, when I go to a restaurant and you try to order something too fancy or too different, like, chances are there's a reason you weren't ordering it before. But there's also, a good chance that it was something that you wish you would have known about previously, and you go from there. So it's just hard. But I think you have to find a balance, back to that word again, a balance between what is most important to you, what are the things that you value. And I think try and being open and honest with your partner, because I think sometimes, a lot of times, we'll be